Hello and welcome to Trading Hour on CNBC TV 18. I'm Ekta Batra, with me is Prashant Nair. Well, the good cheer of crude seems to have worn off a little for our market. So the Nifty and the Sensex are off the high point of the day, but still in the green. So 10,600 for the Nifty and 35,215 currently for the Sensex. Midcap index, however, that's actually been the star performer. So the Midcaps outperform. Bank Nifty also very steady in terms of gains, so up around 0.8% currently for the Bank Nifty. What really matters is also the macros. So the rupee strengthened, yields have softened, and that sort of trajectory remains from the start of the trading session. A lot of stocks to discuss today. So we have a lot of stocks which are reacting to the crude sensitives and the lower crude prices. So HPCL, BPCL, IOC, Asian Paints, HUL, all of those stocks are gaining today. Earning reactions to reckon with, Sun Pharma in focus, and Ashok Leyland and a couple of more, Glenmark Pharmaceuticals. So a lot to discuss, Z Entertainment as well, and something like ICICI Pru, which should come up for you. Hi, Prashant.
Ekta, hi. I think, the 2 points here. One, of course, globally there is some concern whether this sharp fall in oil prices is indicating some kind of a growth scare. And second, this sharp drop in oil prices is so sudden, and it has come at a time when, I mean, purely from an index perspective here in India, we'd already gone up about 600, 650 odd points. And then this price, I mean, at least the sharper part of the sharp fall happened after the Nifty had already rallied about 500 points or so. So, I mean, you know, in that sense, maybe the market was already at a point where there would be some profit taking around the 200-day. It's at 200-day moving average. So, I mean, those two factors I think are important to look at when you ask the question. Well, you know, oil's down 7%. How often does that happen? I mean, actually, we've not had that for at least not that magnitude of a fall at least in the last 3 years. But when you ask the question, why isn't it reflecting in a big way for a big oil importing country like India? I think those two explanations do come in handy. We're up 30 points. 1,061 is where we're at. Just one name which I want to highlight. I mean, if you can put the intraday up of Interglobe Aviation, I mean, look at that go. It's at the day's highest point. It's seen a sharp spike, 8.5%. 1,056 on cash, about 1,061 on the November futures contract. And what a move this is. I mean, from 1,400 to 700, from 700 to 1,050, all in a matter of a couple of months, basically. But that's essentially what oil has also done. I mean, the big moves have come in the last 15 days, basically. Okay, we're going to talk about more stocks and sectors, etc. Sudarshan is with us of s2analytics.com. Sudarshan, morning. Thanks very much. What would you trade?
Well, good morning. The Nifty broke out in the morning from a trading range that was about lasted for 8 days. So that was a buying opportunity with a stop under 10,550. And you know, just after the breakout, the markets have given a scare, almost reaching to the stop loss levels. Not quite, but almost. The trade is still, you go long in the Nifty, keep a stop at 10,550. These are cash index levels. And then hope for the best. It is quite possible this may be a real breakout. It is possible that this may be a false breakout. But because it is going up, we need to be long. So that's the trade. Manage your volumes, keep it low. The volatility is very high. That's for the index. Be a long. And for individual stocks, primarily buy HDFC Bank. The stock is now looking up after many days of dullness. Buy Hind Liver, which has already done very well yesterday and today. Both are buying opportunities for the positional trader, for the intraday trader. I also have Exide as a short sell. It's an intraday short, but you could consider going short in it. Mainly with a stop by the Nifty.
Okay, by the Nifty. But in terms of stocks, Sudarshan, morning, what would you be recommending?
Oh, I just said okay. HDFC Bank and Liver and selling Exide. Okay.
Well, I just had a couple of incremental questions for you in terms of stocks. A lot of the IT stocks are selling off as well as pharmaceutical stocks because of the rupee and the strength that we've seen there. So in that context, what kind of recommendation would you have, Sudarshan, on this sector?
Both sectors are buying opportunities. See, pharma is sometimes sells off because of news, individual stock company news. So if we keep pharma aside, IT is a buying opportunity. It's an overreaction to a very nominal decline, say, in the dollar. It's irrelevant. TCS and Infosys are both, and Tech Mahindra, the three top ones are opportunities to go long. Use this dip.
Okay, well, we have a couple of Twitter queries now for you to address, Sudarshan. Madhu Kiran has 1,100 shares of SpiceJet at 128, wants to know whether to hold or sell.
Well, you hold on. I don't know about your cost price 128 because the current market price is far away from that. But it does appear that SpiceJet is on a roll on the upside and it's going to follow Indigo. So I'm looking at a target of somewhere around 110 to 115.
Sudarshan, thanks very much. Appreciate you joining in with those trading ideas, advice, etc. So keep, sending us your questions. Send them to @CNBC TV 18 News and CNBC TV 18 Live with the hashtag AskCNBC TV 18, and our technical experts will advise you on those questions. Well, look at what Z is doing. It's at the bottom of the screen as well. It's up almost 30 rupees from the day's low. I think about 425 or so was the low, 420 odd, and it's about 450. So that's a very sharp spike coming in on Z. I believe there is also a conference call for analysts scheduled at 12, but we'll sort of put out what comes out of that. And you'll also hear the Z management talk to us here on the channel a little later in the day. Of course, we're going to focus on this all day through today. Actually, Z is one of the stocks that we're going to focus here with our research team. The others are Sun Pharma, Ashok Leyland, which are all actually down in trade today. Okay, let's just quickly start with what's happening with Sun. Ekta, the numbers came through; they were a disappointment. But what was the key point here?
Well, the key point is that it's an all-round disappointment with the revenue, in fact, missing estimates most grossly. So, for example, the revenue was up around 4% and the street was anticipating sales of anywhere between 15 to 17%. We have the US business, which actually underperformed. So, this the estimate on the street was around $380 to $390 million. They did around $380 million last quarter, and they came in with $342 million. So, there is a fear that maybe the specialty ramp up is not going to be as much as anticipated from their product pipeline. Margins are operationally in line, so that's okay. But there's been a couple of negative comments coming in from a couple of brokerages. So Edelweiss has downgraded the stock to reduce from hold. Morgan Stanley is still underweight.
Okay, so that is Sun. Ashok Leyland, what is happening? Sonia is here. There are the numbers, but there is also essentially Mr. Dasari no longer being at the helm of things in a couple of months from now. Sonia.
Well, yes, first the news flow. The MD and CEO Vinod Dasari has resigned. Dheeraj Hinduja will be taking over as the executive chairman with immediate effect. Now, as we know, Mr. Dasari has completed 14 years at the helm of Ashok Leyland. In fact, he was instrumental in the turnaround that took place from the financial hit that Ashok Leyland had seen way back in 2013-2014. He also took over as the CEO in 2016, from when he grew the revenues almost 35%. Now, the bigger issue is not so much his resignation, but who comes in place of him. Dheeraj Hinduja, although he has taken on the role for the moment, he is not, very well versed with the day-to-day running of the commercial vehicle business. So that is the uncertainty that hangs over the stock for now, at least. Also, the numbers have been slightly lower than what the street was estimating. The realizations for Ashok Leyland have been under a bit of pressure. The revenue growth is still intact, but it was lower than the scorching pace of growth that we've seen over the past many quarters. And a lot of brokerages have cut down their EPS estimates as well for the FY19. So let's see, until we get to know or we get more clarity on who the next person is who takes over Mr. Vinod Dasari's place, I guess the overhang will remain on the stock.
Okay, yes, absolutely, Sonia. Down 7% for Ashok Leyland. I think this is close to the year's lows for Ashok Leyland. But Z Entertainment, that one's had a roller coaster ride this morning. We have a call at 12, which I think a lot of investors are going to tune in to. Mangalam is here to give us the lowdown.
Absolutely. You know, there was the jury was still out on which way the stock will move. A lot of them believe that promoters selling would add some uncertainty to the stock, so it was lower by about 3%. And then now a lot believe that after promoters selling, a strategic partner comes in. Will there be an open offer or not? And that has perhaps limited the downside as well. And in fact, as we speak, the stock is surging. But just to tell you the news, the promoters are looking to sell 50% of their holding in the company. At current market price would be anywhere just above that 8,500 crore mark. And they want to make the company into a tech media company. They're looking at AR, augmented reality, virtual reality, Internet of Things, and 3D printing as well. Interesting to see that video streaming and OTT is missing from that press release. But a line in the press release says the proposed transaction is also to address the group's capital allocation plan. So let's see what happens, because the SL Group has investments in real estate and infrastructure as well. Could this be to pay their debt? The stock was down 30% from its 52-week high. 59% of the promoters' stake is pledged. So let's see what happens.
Signs of changing time, huh? If you can't step up your innovation, you're probably just going to fall behind the curve.
You know, I think the analyst call will clear a lot of stuff. We don't know whether this is, you know, in a way, this is too proactive. I mean, that's the concern here. I mean, is this back to the wall kind of situation, or this is, you know, really responding to changing market dynamics? That's the worry. But we'll see. But the stock is off. I mean, as I said, 30 points off the lows.
Shift, right? From a media company, the intuitive shift would be digital, maybe video streaming, OTT, which they have already. Now they're talking about 3D printing, augmented reality. So
maybe we're looking 5 years down the line,
perhaps,
you know, about VR and AR.
You know, I'll tell you, Ekta, promoters in India selling, you know, willingly selling. And by the way, the company is doing, it's a cash cow, right? So when they talk about group capital allocation, the logical argument would be to allocate into this, not out of this. So I think that is the concern here. But we'll see. As I said, the analyst call will throw up more details. ICICI Pru is selling off, and it's down quite a bit. Abhishek is here with why this is so. Abhishek, what's happening?
Well, Prashant, to begin with, you know, Nomura has written a note on ICICI Pru wherein they have spoken that the individual or the retail annualized premium equivalent growth is at -17%. For the industry as a whole, it has grown at 8 to 9%, while for private insurers, it has actually grown at 16%. So this -17% is a bit of disappointment, while for LIC, it is almost flat, like 0.6 to 0.7% kind of a growth. The management, they spoke to the management, and the management said that the decline in growth was due to changes in incentive structure for the ULIPs or the unit-linked insurance products, and that is because of a new head who has come in and he has changed the incentive structure overall. There's further downside to the 7% growth that Nomura had forecasted for FY19 on account of the 10% contraction that the company has seen in H1 FY19. Back to you.
Okay, all right, Abhishek, thanks very much for that. That's on ICICI Pru. We need to take a break now, but up next, we're going to be discussing crude oil prices. Miswin Mahesh, crude expert, will be with us. Manisha Gupta, commodities editor, will be joining in.